Welcome back. Let's talk about Kirkland, Washington, because there's 92,000 people that live there, and it could be important to them, and it could be important to you as well. So thank you for joining me, and let's jump in. If you're new to my channel, I like to cover the areas outside of the Seattle city limits, and today we're covering Kirkland, Washington. So this is a little town outside of Seattle. It's just across Lake Washington. It's just on the other side of 520, and it is bisected by I-405. Kirkland, Washington is where Costco used to be. So if you know Kirkland Signature brand, that's where it's from. And then also, I just found this out, but I was doing some research on Kirkland. And Kirkland actually used to be where the Seahawks were headquartered before they moved over to Renton. So the Seattle Seahawks are actually down here in the Renton area, and they used to be up in here. So just give you a quick rundown. So I get asked a lot, hey, why do you actually cover this kind of stuff, Victor? It's because, you might live and work here. You might, be thinking about buying a house here. You might even have a house here, and you're wondering, hey, what's going on in the market? This is the reason why I cover this kind of stuff, and I just want to get into it with you. So like I said, there's 92,000 people that live inside of Kirkland, Washington. The employment rate is around 69%. And the median income in this area is about $130,000. So again, this is median income. This is not average income. So this is, if you lined up everybody's income from left to right to highest to lowest, you would have in the exact middle $130,000. Also, the bachelor degrees are higher, are about 67%. And then our household breakdown, we have about 40,000 households inside of this area. So it's just over 2 persons per house, just on a generic breakdown for you. This is actually one of the main areas where people live that usually work in the tech sector in the Redmond, Bellevue, Kirkland, or Seattle area as well. So this is one of the reasons why we have such a high income and education zone here. Now, if you came to me and you said, hey, Victor, I want to buy a house, or I want to know what houses go for in the area right now, I would say, well, right now, as of yesterday, when I made this, when I did all this data for you, there was 117 homes available for purchase inside of Kirkland. This includes condos, townhouses, single family, everything from like a regular little condo all the way up to a mansion, that is about $15 million. So when I average those all together, 2.2 million is our average available for purchase right now, and those homes have been on the market now for 56 days, and we're going to get into a breakdown later of what the average house actually is, but this is what's available for purchase right now inside of Kirkland. Because you might come to me and you say, hey, Victor, I want to know the history and the sales history inside of Kirkland, Washington. And I say, I got you, boo. Because I actually did all that for you, and I did all my math, and I want to show you exactly what I got. So inside of Kirkland, the average home, and this is what we're going to use, when I did all my aggregates and such, I came up with the average home. It's about 1977 square feet. So 1977 square feet, 3 beds, 2.5 bath. And again, 1977 was a good year because that was the year that Star Wars came out. But this 1977 square foot house that is 3 beds and 2.5 bath, I want you to forget about condition. I want you to forget about style. How many stories it might have, and just think of a generic house, because that's what the aggregate data is for the average home that was sold inside of Kirkland, Washington for the last 5 years inside of the month of February. Now I'm going to be comparing February 2020 to all the way to February 2024. So let's just jump into it right now. If you bought that generic house, that 1977 square foot house that is 3 beds and 2 baths, 2.5 baths inside of Kirkland, if you bought that in February 2020, right before COVID happened, and again, just So, I lived in Kirkland right before COVID happened. So if you bought this home, it would cost you on average that year $960,000 to buy that average home inside of Kirkland, Washington for February 2020. Now we're going to see how the pricing has changed over the next year, because even within 1 year, it actually went up 10%. Now I want to go back to February 2020, and there was 97 homes sold in February 2020 right before COVID hit. Now, February 2021, there was 128 homes sold inside of Kirkland. And like I said, the value of the homes went up about 10%, and it was right about $1,060,000 was the average cost of a home. The big run up happened the next year, February 2022. That generic 1,977 square foot home, that is 3 beds and 2.5 bath, again, was actually valued at now $500,000 more. So it went from $1,060,000 on average to $1,556,000. So that was quite a huge run up. And then also, I do want to say our sales volume itself stayed right about the same. There was 123 homes sold that year inside of February 2022, but in February 2021, there was 128. So the previous year, it just barely went down 5 homes. The big change happened in March and February. The big change happened in March of 2022, and that's accounted in the next year's numbers, because in the next year, February 2023, this is when the interest rates have changed and everything like that, and our volume of sales went down by about a third. So only 81 homes were sold inside of Kirkland in February 2023 versus 123 homes sold the year before. And on top of that, instead of them taking 15 days to sell, they took 41 days to sell. Now the price changed and the value changed because the average home during that time sold for $1,200,000. So there was a bit of a pullback on the value of the home. Now, when we go into February 2024, this is last month, we sold 94 homes inside of February 2024. It took 27 days on average, and our average value of the home actually went up to $1,506,000. I want to take a quick note and say these are the averages of all the homes sold inside of this area on a price per square foot breakdown. This is not the value of a home in general, but this is the average of the area. So I want to just give you a quick disclaimer on that, because I have had some questions on that. Now, when we get into the actual how much is it worth versus how much it is to actually sell it, that's where it really gets into negotiations, and that's why you need a real estate agent. I'll be happy to work with you on that. I'm available for hire. You can reach me at the number below. Now, when I compare the rents in this area to the mortgage, and I'm going to do a video later on this week, maybe even this weekend, but I'm going to do a breakdown of the rents versus mortgage. But inside this area, if you were to rent that 1,977 square foot house, again, 3 beds and 2.5 bath, it would cost you on average $4,600 a month to rent. That's quite a lot, but also remember, renting a single family house is more expensive. Now, if you were to buy it though, and this is a really big difference, we're into jumbo loan territory. And again, I'm not a mortgage guy, but I can talk to you and direct you to one of the mortgage agents I work with. But you're looking at about a $1,300,000 loan. So a $1.3 million loan with $200,000 down, and your mortgage, using yesterday's rates at 7.38. Again, that's on Investopedia because I cite all my work. It would be about $8,900 a month. Now, there's differences on when you get into things, especially if you're buying down points or something like that. But this is a huge difference. So if you're renting the house, it's $4,600. And if you're buying it, it's going to be at least $8,900. And the big difference on there, and I haven't even talked about it, is you have to pay your taxes, your fees, your taxes, your fees, your special assessments, your HOAs, as well as your interest on that money. So this is one reason why we're seeing, again, the homes just slow down in this area, is because the value of the homes are too high for the medium household in this area. And like I said earlier, if the medium household only makes $130,000 and the medium house is right now being sold for $1,500,000, that's 11 times earnings, and that is incredibly unaffordable. So if you have questions on this kind of stuff, I'll be happy to work with you on it. So the reason why I do this is because I want to give you an idea of what it is to buy inside this area or sell inside this area. And, I get asked a lot, hey, Victor, why are you talking about this stuff? It's because you need to know what's going on inside your neighborhood. Feel free to get a hold of me. I'll be happy to work with you about this stuff. You could reach me at, anytime. And as always, it was a pleasure working with you, and I hope you have a fantastic day.